Senator Rick Scott, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really appreciate it. Busy few weeks. What's the status of the party going forward here? Where do we go from here?
Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to win Georgia. So I hope everybody will go to teamherschel.com. You can donate, you can volunteer. That's the first thing we have to do. We have to get back to a 50-50 Senate. That gives us a lot more power in committees, and it'll make it much more difficult for the Democrats to pass this horrible legislation they want to pass in spending. Then I think we have to talk about what our plan is going forward. Why vote for us? And so I think we have to have discussions about what we believe in. How are we going to stop this inflation? How are we going to stop the big deficits? How are we going to get our crime down? How are we going to secure border? How are we going to get a lethal military? And have a plan and tell people why, so they'll vote for us, and then go do it.
You're coming off a tug of war with Senator McConnell. Is that indicative? Is it reflective of a schism within the party?
Well, the way I look at it, it's not about people; it's about approach. I'm giving an idea of how I would be the leader, and so I think that's what it is. It's never between. It shouldn't be between two people. That's not the way. A lot of people want to think about it that way, but the way to really think about it is approach. I don't believe in the old establishment Republican approach where we compromise with the Democrats, we cave in, and Schumer passes this stuff. I just don't believe in that. I believe we've got to fight like hell for what we believe in. We've got to fight to get these deficits eliminated. Look, we have $31 trillion worth of debt. When are we going to fight? When it's $35 trillion? We have too many people crossing our border. We're going to fight when it's 4 million people a year crossing our border. When are we going to fight?
Divided government now. How is this going to work out on the Senate side in partnering with the House to stop the president's agenda?
I think it's very important that Republicans in the Senate work with the Republican House to do whatever we can to pass logical, legislation, pass budgets that make some sense. When the Congress passes the budget, the president doesn't pass a budget. So we've got to work with our Republican members in the House to pass a responsible budget, to make sure we have a lethal military, to make sure we support the things we believe in, but don't waste people's money.
In terms of these meetings here, Republican Jewish Coalition meeting, a lot of top contenders. I guess you can call them contenders for 2024, though only one has announced so far. What are you looking for in a 2024 candidate?
I think what the public is looking for is somebody that's going to solve America's problems. Somebody that has a plan to reduce inflation, has a plan to balance the budget, has a plan to lower the crime rate, has a plan to secure the border, has a plan to have a lethal military. I think that's what people are looking for. They want somebody that's going to have a plan and they know is comfortable that they'll fight for that plan.
In terms of the U.S.-Israel relationship, there's so much newness right now. Prime Minister Netanyahu to come into power here likely in the next few weeks. Kevin McCarthy taking over as the Speaker of the House. There's a transition period happening right now. Do you see the U.S.-Israel relationship remaining strong?
Oh, I believe in it. I think Israel's our best ally. I think they believe in democracy. They believe in individual rights. And so we've got to do everything we can to help them. They want our support, but they don't want our men and women on the ground. That's what our relationship should be with countries around the world that believe in democracy. So I'm very impressed with what Israel does. We got to fight for them. They've got a lot of people that want to demolish them. I appreciate what President Trump did with the Abraham Accords, moving the embassy to Jerusalem. I think we've got to fight for Israel.
What does that involve at the senatorial level? It's still in the minority. How can you help? How can you assist?
Well, one, the Senate should be a place where we promote ideas and what we believe in. We've got to really promote why the relationship with Israel is an important relationship, why they're an important ally, and then go sell it. And so I don't know why any American would not believe that Israel is a great ally, and why any American doesn't want us to support Israel.
The FBI investigation of the death of journalist Shireen Abu Akleh has been catching attention as of late. The State Department and the White House have both said publicly they have nothing to do with it, didn't know it was coming. The FBI isn't commenting on it. It's only confirmation from the Israeli side so far. Can you give any insight into what's happening and what role the Senate might play in oversight?
I think we have to find out exactly what's happening. Unfortunately, the FBI and DOJ they've got to figure out how to be way more transparent about what they're doing, whether it's what the FBI is doing in Israel, or whether it's the raid on Mar-a-Lago, whether it's this special counsel to review the former president. I mean, these things are unprecedented in our history, and so when that's happening, the FBI and DOJ has got to be transparent about why they're doing it, because otherwise, I mean, they're going to allow. It's going to be easy for people to question the politicization of the FBI and DOJ.
Governor Ron DeSantis was able to coalesce a large segment of the Floridian population, including minority segments, turn a purple state red, even though it's been trending that way for a bit now. How does the rest of the country replicate what Florida has been able to do over the last couple of cycles?
I think what we've done in Florida is we focus on issues that are important to people. We've got to make sure we have the best economy in the world. We've got to make sure our parents have choices for where their kids go to school. We've got to make sure that we support our law enforcement. I think those are things that parents, families, and voters care about, and then we have to go talk to everybody. When I ran, I worked very hard to make sure I talked to Hispanics. I talked to every group in the state and say, like, I want the same thing for you that you want for your family. We all want the same thing. We want a chance to live the American dream. We don't need government involved in our lives. We want a government that's accountable, but helps us lead an individual life with freedom and liberty.
It was noted in a poll that the share of the Jewish vote to the Republican Party has gone up to about 33% from what was about 25% a few years ago. It went up to 45%, according to one poll, in Florida. What has been the difference there in turning the Jewish vote Republican, and how specifically can that subsect of the population, how can that be replicated elsewhere?
Well, I think one is, with every family, Jewish families and non-Jewish families, focus on the things that are important to them. It's their livelihood, their children's education, the crime rate, and then also the other things that in Florida a lot of my Jewish friends care about is they care about their relationship with Israel. So you need to be supportive of the relationship with Israel. So I think if you talk about the issues that people care about, they tend to vote for you.
Are there any other religious freedom, any other issues that are factoring in? Do you think to that shift, school choice? Is there anything else that Republicans are doing?
I think it comes down to these things. I think people want their freedom. They want to have a chance to live their dream. They don't need a government that tells them how to live their dream. But I think they want to be self-sufficient. I think they want to choose their kids' school. I mean, here's what you think about a typical family. They don't want to work for government. They want to make their futures their kids. That's why they want a great education system for the kids. They want to live in a safe community, and then they want lethal military, and they want to have good relationships around the world.
Senator Rick Scott from Florida, thank you so much for
Thanks
your
a
time.
lot. Thanks.